What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some good versus bad examples of the snap down technique on routes. So this is how you guys drop into curls, comebacks, off of double moves, stop routes, whatever it is. We're going to be talking about some of the key things that receivers do wrong, and obviously some of the good things that receivers do right when you snap down. But also, fellas, I want to talk to you about a 20% off merchandise sale that we're having on my website today. Get all of this merch that I'm showing you today for 20% off. You check out that very first link in the description. 20% off. It's already marked up. Don't have to enter a promo code. Just check out that very first link in the description. 20% off all of our merchandise. Hope you guys can pick up some of that and support the brand. We'd really appreciate that. Let's get started with this route, okay? So now, first things first, we're going to be talking about this stop route right here. So we're going to be talking about some of the key things that you do wrong as a receiver when you're pushing vertical and when you're trying to sell vertical and you have to drop into a break. So let's watch it full speed. So you see how he comes here, and now you guys should be able to kind of identify what we do wrong right here, okay? So now, you see how when he's running up to this route, the thing that a DB is looking for, especially when we're running and especially when we're doing some kind of route where you got to drop your hips and get into a break, or even a speed cut, a DB is looking for indicators, right? Like we talked about this maybe earlier in this week. There's a great clip of Xavier Rhodes on the NFL film breakdowns where he's talking about, hey, what I look for in a DB or as a DB and a receiver is I look for him to change speeds or start chopping out because I can tell when he's counting his steps based on his pad level and his speed. So if I'm a receiver, that's the thing that's just engraved into my mind, is that I don't want to give any indicators. But you see what this receiver does right here is you see how he raises his chest up. You see how he's got a great pad level position right here. He came out super fast. But now what he decides to do is he raises that pad level and he's running straight up and his feet start getting a little choppy. His hands start dropping by his waist and he's not pumping his arms. You see how he's pumping his arms and then he stops, and as the rhythm of his arms stop. The issue with that is that's just an indicator of the DB, and I'm sure he's been told this. I'm not trying to say that this guy doesn't know what he's doing because obviously he's playing at the highest level. So there's clearly he's probably been coached up on this. He don't have to worry about that. But I'm trying to show you guys some of the key things that you can do wrong, some of the key things that I see in receivers, and even at the highest level possible, some of these things occur. So it's not like it's just your problem, but these are the things that we need to be able to correct. So when you raise your pad level up like this and you slow your strides down and you slow your hands down, that just allows this DB to be able to make a play, right? So if I chop my hands and I chop my feet and I slow myself way down, the DB is going to do the exact same thing. He's going to be reacting off you. He's going to slow himself down. And then when you're up tall, you don't have as much explosion because your speed changed, right? Because all that explosion that you create at the top of the break, that's why they call it snapping down in the first place, is to create energy, and then that energy shoots you back to wherever the ball is going to be coming. And if you guys are up nice and tall, your feet are chopping, you're nice and slow, you're not going to create as much energy because you're slowing down. You're not running full speed, and you're not dropping your hips aggressively. So we got to make sure that you see when he drops his hips here, you see how he's kind of leaning back, right? He's leaning back, he's on his heels. That's not explosion. When your back is straight up in the air and you're just leaning back into a break, that kind of takes away explosion. It's like trying to run full speed, but your chin is straight up in the air. You're obviously going to be slower and you're not going to have as much power because your weight's going backward rather than having your weight go forward and you drop into this thing. Like when you drop into a break and when you snap down here, you want to try to get your chest forward. You want to try to get your chin to your knee and your hips are violent rather than you're sitting your butt too low where your butt goes like almost below your knees. You want to drop your hips violently and get your chest down, okay? That's how you create explosion. So I think the two main mistakes on this is that just he gave that indicator to the DB, which gave him plenty of time to react. Then he kind of chops into the break because he doesn't have that speed. He doesn't have that explosive drop. And then he leans back. So those are the most common things that you see in receivers. Because what they try to do, even when they're running like a curl route, for example, this is kind of like a stop route or like a bailout route, like a bail route, like you hear some people say, like, or a chains. Some people call it chains or sticks, where you just got to get to this first down marker and then just kind of fade out of there and really try to get this DB to go vertical if you don't have him over the top, right? So it's kind of like that. But even when guys run comebacks, they love to lean back. They love to lean back and try to turn this inside shoulder right here and open up to the QB. That takes away your speed. You guys want to make sure that we're violent. We're bringing my chin to my knee. I'm getting in that just low explosive position so I could run in and run out of this break and stay on whatever path I need to, whether it's a 90 break, whether you got to come straight back to the ball, or whether it's a 45-degree angle break. So those are some of the main mistakes that you see. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. So he comes off here. Just make sure we don't raise that pad level up, slow myself down, and again, you see the separation that we don't have when we decide to do that, okay? So now, let's take a look at this rider from Jeudy. You see how when he's running, there's no change in speed. It's a sudden drop, and you see how much energy he's able to create and get back to the ball, right? So this is kind of the same exact route that we're talking about. We want to make sure, again, It's all about snapping down, the whole reason that's even a thing, because everybody's been taught, oh, you want to beat the drum. I call it milk the cow, right? The thing about that is everybody's been taught that. And they did that for a while because there was always like, oh, you want to slow down. Slow yourself down to the break. You got to decelerate. Oh, you're going to hurt yourself, right? But the game continues to evolve, and that snap down is what gets you to decelerate when you're running full speed and you're in that explosive pad level position, and you got to drop right now and get back to the ball. So you see how when Jeudy runs, there's no change. There's no change in his pad level. There's no change in his arms. There's no change in his legs. He's just running full speed. And you could say, oh, well, Jeudy's a different breed, right? Well, look at any of the top route runners in the game. Look at Julio Jones. Look at Calvin Ridley. Look at Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen. They're all able to do this. And you can just check the film on this page and as a reference point, right? Because we've done breakdowns on all of those guys, and they all have this in common. That's why they're such great route runners. So again, you see he's running those arms, staying in full stride, good pad level, and that drop is just sudden, right in stride. And you see how he's just coming down and his chest goes forward. That's exactly what I'm talking about. His hips drop, but his butt isn't below his knees to where he doesn't have that explosion. His chin's getting to his knee. He's in this explosive pad level position. Now, again, like I talk about, the whole point of snapping down is so you create energy at the top of the break. You want to be able to create energy at the top and use that energy to accelerate back to the ball. Now, you see how that receiver, he got that in the first clip, he got kind of stuck at the top of the break because he was leaning back, because he was on his heels. He didn't have any explosion or burst back to the ball. So you now see Jeudy, he's got his chest down, and he can drive off of that plant leg and really go because he's in that explosive position. It's like running a 40-yard dash. A lot of people love to talk about the 40-yard dash. And from my time playing, what I've learned is that what I didn't know at first was I just thought you just run as fast as you can, right? But from working it and understanding the 40 and the mechanics of it, you have to have that drive phase for the first 10 yards, and then you accelerate, because if you just try to stand up and run, you'll run out of gas and your time is slow, right? So you need that explosion. You need that burst. Same idea at the top of a route, because at the end of the day, we're trying to win this race back to this spot, right? At the end of the day, that's where we got to beat the DB2. No matter what, it kind of really doesn't even necessarily matter how we get there in the grand scheme of things, but it does, because it's going to be more efficient a certain way, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about that acceleration. Same with the 40. So that energy at the top of the break is like the drive phase of a 40-yard dash. You're concerned with creating energy at the top of the break, being explosive, and that energy shoots you back to the ball. So that's the difference between a good and a bad snap down, right? A good snap down is where you're violent with your hips, getting low, chin goes to your knee, be in an explosive position, really create that energy to shoot back to the ball, right? Bad one, and again, people always love to talk about the guys who sit there and critique, right? And that's fine. I really don't care. If you like to say that about me, this is just the stuff from doing it every day, right? We train. I have receivers come out every single day of the week, and these are the common mistakes that I see them making. And we're trying to do that to where you guys can understand what you need to do. How can you do it, and how can you do it correctly? And this is just from my eye view, what I see constantly on a day-to-day basis, the mistakes that people make, and it goes all the way up to the highest level of football, right? Leaning back, giving that indicator, slowing yourself down. And it's not rocket science, fellas. It's just we want to make the DB think one thing and then be able to do the other as efficiently, as quickly, and have as much speed and explosion as possible back to that ball. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So let's watch this thing again, full speed one more time. Jeudy does a great job. No indicators on the route, violent with his hips, and make sure he's accelerating back to the ball. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you guys want to get all of our merch 20% off, not the Teespring merch that we have below, it's going to be the very first link in the description. It's new merchandise that we just got on our website. 20% off today only. Sale ends today at midnight. Check out that very first link in the description. Hope to get you guys with some of the merch soon. We really appreciate the support. I'll see you guys next time.